Hey guys, it's Rosie here. Since Valentine's Day is coming up, I wanted to do a den decorating video and show my entire process from start to finish. I'm hoping this helps anyone who struggles with decorating or just doesn't know where to begin. Obviously, you don't have to decorate exactly like I do. Always add your own spin and make it your own. But I think I share a few tips in here that could be really useful if you feel stuck or overwhelmed when decorating. Before I actually started decorating, I picked the den I wanted to use, which is the Friendship Cottage. Then I went through my entire inventory and placed down all the items that were Valentine's themed or had pink and red colors. Here's my first tip. Pulling out all your themed items first really helps because you can actually see what you're working with instead of constantly opening your inventory every 5 seconds. I'll be fast forwarding through some of the slower parts, but I'll keep them in so you can still see the process. This whole den took about 2.5 hours to decorate. Alright, here we go. I started off really struggling with how I wanted to decorate the front entrance. I knew I wanted to use this fireplace, but I wasn't sure how to make it work yet. So I went into the furniture store and just looked around to see if anything inspired me. I didn't really find much, but I did grab this cute pink TV that I knew I would use later. Then I started placing more items just to get an overall feel for what I had. I also took a little pit stop at Kimbara and found these heart candles, which I thought would look really cute. Sometimes just placing things randomly helps you visualize ideas better than trying to plan everything in your head. At first, I tried to make the fireplace work in this area, but it just didn't feel right. So I turned that space into a little couch hangout spot instead. Originally, I put these candy jars on this red rose table, but they blended in way too much and weren't noticeable. So I switched to a wooden end table, and that helped a lot. If something blends in too much, try changing the table or rug underneath it so it stands out more. I was trying to go for a pink and red theme, but I didn't want it all to be pink. So, for example, I originally picked this pink heart table for the middle, but it blended in too much. I swapped it out for a red heart table, and that fixed it. Then I added this pile of candy and decided to make it like a candy eating area. As you can see, a lot of what I do is just moving stuff around over and over until something feels right. Eventually, I went back to the fireplace area and added a rug and some pillows and decided that was good enough for now. Then I used the pink TV to kind of divide the room in half near the staircase. Using big furniture like TVs, shelves, or screens is a really helpful way to split a large room into smaller areas. Another thing I want to point out is my use of rugs. I love using white rugs because they work with almost any color theme and make the surrounding colors pop. They also help define each little area inside of a big room. Next, I worked on this corner and turned it into the craft area instead. I added some couches and pillows and decided it looked pretty good. Then I had this awkward little space in between that I had no idea what to do with. I started getting really frustrated and overwhelmed, so I decided to stop for the day. Day 2 started with tackling the second floor, which I had no plan for at all. First, I cleared everything out so I could see the space I was working with. I saw this chocolate fountain and thought it would look cool, but it felt really random and out of place. I tried turning the area into a little kitchen with treats, but it just didn't work, so I scrapped that idea. Then I decided to make it another cute seating area, like downstairs, and honestly, it turned out really cute. I also added this rose table with the heart box near the stairs. For the other corner, I had no idea what to do with it, so I just started playing around with different ideas. I found another end table and tried putting it next to the bookcase, but it absolutely did not want to sit right. It's kind of embarrassing how long I spent trying to place that thing. Eventually, I decided to turn it into a little tea table area, and that finished the second floor. Then I moved on to the third floor. This area was smaller and had a balcony that I really didn't know how to decorate. I started by moving things around again just to see what might work. After a while, I decided to turn it into a little reading nook using the bookcases. And again, I really tried to make the chocolate fountain work, but it just wasn't meant to be. For the balcony, I tried doing something similar to the second floor with a bench and rug, but it didn't feel special enough. Then I remembered I had this art easel with a heart on it, So I turned it into a little painting balcony. Using one special item as a theme for a space makes it feel more intentional instead of random. After that, I kept going through my inventory and adding small details to make everything feel finished. Then came my favorite part, changing the wallpaper and flooring. I tried to do it earlier, but it wouldn't let me for some reason, so I thought I was stuck with the bright pink. Thankfully, I was not. I chose the pink swirls, wallpaper, and flooring because it was lighter and made the den feel less cluttered. Lighter wallpaper can make small spaces feel calmer and more open. After that, I called it a day and saved the outside for tomorrow. Day 3 started with clearing out the front entrance again. I added these snow rocks around the deck to fill empty spaces and make it feel more natural. I wanted this area to look like someone had just finished doing winter activities, so I added a pink snowmobile and sled near a tree log. Then I remembered I had a bunch of snow-covered trees from Jam Holidays, so I started placing them around to see how many I had. I tried putting this heart-shaped pond in front, but it looked out of place. I tried putting snow patches under it, but they wouldn't cooperate, so I replaced it with a snow angel and some rocks instead. Then I moved on to the bottom area, which was really big. I needed something that would take up a lot of space, so I made a diamond shape with the snow log benches and put a fireplace in the middle. I added snow patches underneath it so it looked more intentional. Then I added pink and red pillows and honestly loved how it turned out. I added barrels and more trees around it. For the next spot, I genuinely had no idea what to put there. I remembered I had a big swing, but I wanted to make this space feel smaller and more separate, so I used trees, rocks, and logs to divide it. Then I remembered I had these chopped logs and created a little outdoor work area with the wheelbarrow. After that, I placed the dirt pathways. These paths are so big that once they're placed, it's hard to move stuff around, so that kind of locked everything in place. And that's where I stopped for the day. Place big items first, then add smaller details after so you don't overcrowd the space. On the last day, I replaced the pink pillows with these new heart stools from the shop, and they fit perfectly. I looked over everything again to make sure I still liked it and then went back outside. Always do a walkthrough of your den before adding more items. Sometimes removing or swapping one thing makes a big difference than adding something new. I knew I wanted to decorate this ice pond area, but I had no idea what to do. Then I remembered I had snow walls and thought it would be cool to make it into a snowball fight spot. I added snowballs on one side and a snowball cannon on the other. Then I replaced this rose heart bush with the wooden swing so it could be a place to sit and watch the snowball fight. A lot of my decorating is based on imagining what I would actually be doing in that space and what it would look like around me. I try to make it feel realistic and lived in. Thinking of your den like a real place instead of just a game space helps it feel more cozy and natural. I spent a really long time figuring out where to put that heart bush because the ledges are all different sizes. Eventually, I settled on this. I added the strawberry heart decoration and the rose bushes near the frozen pond. They were bigger than I expected, and honestly, I wish we could rotate items freely instead of only two directions. It would make decorating so much easier and more customizable. Then, I added snow fences along the edges of the ledges and snow patches underneath everything so it looked more intentional. I also added dirt paths on the ledges, which really pulled it together. Using fences or borders helps frame an area and makes it look more finished instead of empty. For the very last part, I decorated the ski lift with pink pillows, a heart candle, and a heart tree. I added balloons and a bench nearby. And yes, here I am again trying to make that chocolate fountain work. I was determined to use it somewhere, so I kept it there instead of the bench. Then I went through my inventory one last time to see if I missed anything cute. I added a giant pink Jam Holiday bow to the ski lift and decided that was the finishing touch. After that, I was finally satisfied with the den. Alright, that's the end of my Valentine's den decorating process. I really hope this video helped you in some way, or at least gave you some inspiration if you're working on your own den right now. If there's one thing I've learned from this, it's that decorating takes time and a lot of trial and error. Don't be afraid to move things around, change your mind, or even stop and come back to it another day like I did. Everyone decorates differently, so don't feel like you have to copy what I did exactly. Add your own style and make it something you actually enjoy being in. Thank you so much for watching and for sticking through my 4 days of decorating. If you liked this video or found it helpful, feel free to like or subscribe, and let me know in the comments what theme I should try decorating next. I'll see you guys in the next video.